The average person reaches for their phone within 47 seconds of being alone with their thoughts. Not bored, not tired, just alone for under a minute, and the hand moves on its own. In 2014, researchers at the University of Virginia gave people two choices: sit alone in a quiet room for 15 minutes or receive a mild electric shock. A quarter of them chose the shock. You read that correctly. People chose pain over their own thoughts. For most of human history, this would have made no sense at all. Silence wasn't rare. It was the default setting of being alive. A farmer walking behind a plow had hours of nothing but his own mind. A woman grinding grain, a shepherd watching a flock, a sailor on a calm sea, all of them spent enormous stretches of their lives with no input at all. No music, no chatter, no app to check. Historians who study pre-industrial daily life note something striking. There's almost no record anywhere of people describing this as unbearable. Silence wasn't a void to be filled. It was simply the texture of being alive. Boredom wasn't a problem to be solved, it was just Tuesday. Now consider what happens the moment you have 10 free minutes today. You're in line at the store. You're waiting for a web page to load. You're sitting on the toilet. And before any conscious decision gets made, the phone is already in your hand. Researchers call this time-filling behavior, and it's become so automatic that most people don't even register it as a choice anymore. It's not a choice, it's a reflex. Here's the mechanism. Your brain runs on dopamine. Dopamine doesn't reward pleasure, it rewards anticipation, not the thing itself, the maybe. A notification might be good news. It might be nothing. That uncertainty is the hook. Your brain treats maybe as more valuable than definitely every time. Slot machines were built around this principle decades before smartphones existed. The only difference now is the slot machine fits in your pocket and never closes. Silence offers none of that. No unpredictability, no next thing. Just you, alone, with whatever surfaces, including the thoughts you've been avoiding. And that's the part nobody wants to admit. The discomfort of sitting in silence isn't really about boredom. It's about what shows up when the noise stops. Unresolved arguments, old regrets, the quiet suspicion that you might not actually like the direction your life is heading. Silence doesn't create those thoughts. It just stops giving you an escape route from them. This is why the shock study result makes a strange kind of sense. People weren't choosing pain because they enjoyed it. They were choosing a known, controllable discomfort over an unknown, uncontrollable one. At least the shock had an edge to it, a clear beginning and end. Your own mind, left alone for too long, doesn't come with that kind of certainty. In 2018, a journalist named Catherine Price ran a small experiment on herself and several volunteers. 30 days completely offline outside of work necessities. The first 3 days, she wrote, felt like withdrawal. Not metaphorically, actual physical restlessness, irritability, an urge to check a phone that wasn't even nearby. By day 10, something shifted. She described long stretches of walking where her mind wandered somewhere it hadn't gone in years, backward into old memories, forward into half-formed plans. Nowhere in particular. She wasn't more productive during those 30 days. She was something the modern world rarely allows people to be, undistracted. But here's what's actually being lost, and it's bigger than just people are addicted to their phones. Boredom used to be functional. It wasn't dead time. It was the precondition for almost everything humans have ever created. Some of history's most significant ideas weren't discovered while staring at a screen. They showed up in the shower, on long walks, during the in-between moments when the mind had nothing urgent to do and started wandering on its own. Psychologists call this mind wandering. Brain scans confirm it activates a completely different network than focused attention does. One linked to creativity, one linked to problem solving, one linked to processing emotion you didn't know you were carrying. You cannot mind wander while scrolling. The phone doesn't just fill the silence, it blocks the exact mental state that silence used to produce. Then there is what solitude does to memory consolidation, sorting the day's experience into something coherent instead of noise. Then there is what it does to emotional regulation. letting a feeling finish instead of getting paved over by the next notification. Then there is what it does to identity itself. The slow work of figuring out who you are when nobody and nothing is telling you who to be for the next 6 seconds. Modern life interrupts all three, constantly, and calls the interruption entertainment. The ancient Stoics treated solitude as a discipline, not a punishment. Seneca wrote to a friend that the real test of a person's character was whether they could be alone with themselves without needing distraction, because a mind that constantly needs external noise has never actually confronted what it's avoiding. He wasn't being poetic, he meant it as a practical diagnosis. If silence feels unbearable, that discomfort is information. It's telling you something about what you've been outrunning. And it's not just ancient philosophers who understood this. Meditation traditions across completely unconnected cultures arrived at the same conclusion independently. Sit still. Do nothing. Watch what your mind does when it has no task. Every one of these traditions treats this as difficult on purpose, not because stillness is inherently hard, but because modern humans have spent decades training themselves out of the ability to tolerate it. So what actually happens if you try it? 10 minutes, no phone, no music, nothing to read. The first few minutes are usually fine, almost pleasant. Then a kind of itch sets in. Your leg starts moving. Your mind starts reaching for something to grab onto. By minute 5 or 6, most people report a genuine urge to check something, anything, even if there's nothing waiting for them. That urge isn't weakness, it's withdrawal. Your brain has been trained on a near constant drip of novelty for years, and 10 minutes of nothing registers neurologically as a kind of deprivation. The uncomfortable truth is that this isn't really a phone problem. Taking the phone away doesn't fix it. It just reveals how much of your inner life has quietly been outsourced. The phone is the symptom. The actual condition is that an entire generation has lost the ability to be alone with itself, and most people have no idea this happened, because the transition felt convenient at every single step. So try it anyway. 10 minutes. No phone, no excuse, no escape route. Not because silence is pleasant. It often isn't. But because the version of you that can sit still in your own mind without flinching is the version every wisdom tradition on earth considered worth becoming. Everyone else is just running from a room they were never actually in danger inside.